I see Ving or Luther as a kind of balance in the team. And then there's my character, Billy, who is a little bit of a loose cannon. I think when he joins the team at the beginning, he probably don't know where he's going to go. I mean, is it a mistake? Let's be honest. You know, Anthony Hopkins says to Tom, you can have any two team members you want. And I'm sitting in the audience thinking, why this one? Of all the people you can have, why this one? But I like to think that once you start to see him fly, you know, dropping him into biocide or that sort of stuff, I think then you start to realise why Billy is on the team.
Luther, we're out of time. On the count.
Please, baby, open up. Open up, baby.
5, 4,
Come on.
3, 2, 1. I'm going now!
Ethan, wait.
I have a pretty good instinct about action.
The action in it is completely mind-blowing.
I've never seen anything so dangerous, so exciting. It really is. It's unbelievable. They invented some techniques for this movie that have never ever been done in a film before.
I think John Woo's eye and vision of the whole piece. I think this is an action film unlike any action film that I've seen because it's not action for action's sake.
John Woo is an amazing filmmaker. The way he utilizes action, and the way he uses the cameras, and the way, and just his very, very unique and particular vision.
Well, he's brought his wooism. You know, John is, first of all, I admire him as an artist and a human being, and I think that reflects in his movies, even though there is a violence in his picture, but there's a humanity that he has as a person that I think carries over in every shot of his. He can just create this visceral, emotional action. His frames carry a poetry in the way that he cuts them together. It's like a dance.
His action sequences are what Yeats said of Ireland. It's a terrible beauty, you know, an emphasis on both words. And it's fascinating to watch him.
You know, that's Woo. He's the man, you know, that's why he's the man. He's the Woo. There's conventions within Mission Impossible that an audience will embrace. I felt out of any picture that I've made, this, for me, could be fun to have sequels. Because they're different. Every single one, every environment, every mission he goes on, everything they do is different every single time. I love what I do, and I feel a responsibility, just the position that I'm in is rarefied. And, I don't ever want to take advantage of that, so I appreciate it when I go to a movie and I see that level of effort in there, and I'm committed to what I do. I can't help it. I love it.
The idea came from Tom, you know, and he told me he liked rock climbing, flying planes, and like motorcycles, all those kind of thing. And by the meantime, we tried to use the scene to establish Ethan Hunt's new character. We wanted to create a new kind of hero, you know, a person who really care about people, and just like the ordinary people, you know, he enjoyed life. He had a lot of great passion about nature, about love, about everything, and also full of energy and full of life.
In the mountain climbing storyboards, the opening shot is to establish where we are. And the camera pushes in on the cliff and you see this little speck, which turns out to be Tom Cruise. And so you see how vast it is, how big, how tall, and there's Tom in the middle of a little speck in the middle of this cliff. The storyboards then show a precarious moment where Tom slips, the rock breaks free, and he slides, almost falls off the cliff, and then he grabs on with one hand. He's hanging by one arm for a little while, and then he eventually swings around so that he's facing outward. And we call it the Iron Cross because his arms were straight out in a cross position. In reality, it would be extremely scary, but in the storyboard you can see he has a smile on his face, which that was John's whole vision here, is that this is nothing to him. Even though it's to the rest of the world, it's incredibly crazy and dangerous and scary. He's got no ropes. He should be like, feared for his life, but John wanted to treat this as, this is nothing. This is what he does for recreation.
I've always wanted to climb, and I love climbing. I'm always working with the kids and with Nick, and so this gives me a good excuse. And I get to climb with, one of the world's greatest.
We had first brought in a climber. He's a world-class climber. His name's Ron Koch, just to teach Tom some of the moves and things so he could look correct. We thought at the time that Ron would be doing a substantial bit of it, but in the end he did nothing.
It's amazing how keen he is to go do this stuff and how relaxed he's and trusting.
The scary thing was the cliff was 2,000 feet high, and there was no protection on it. I was sweating and I got panic.
The jump was a long jump. It was about 15 feet.
It was really a weird thing to look at visually because your background is 2,000 feet away and you've got this little thing sticking out which matches the background perfectly. And visually it's a tough thing to look at and a very intimidating stunt to do.
He liked to do something impossible,
Yeah, I can't say enough things about how impressed I was at his willingness to do this, because it hurts. It hurts. You're jumping down 15 feet under rock in these little shoes, and it's beating up the bottom of your feet, and he does it over and over and over again until he gets the shot perfect.
The shot was so critical. We had 5 cameras on the top of the cliff, and we also had a helicopter camera. And from the helicopter, I needed real close to Tom. So the helicopter very close to Tom, and the blade, you can see the blade on the helicopter. It's very close to Tom's head. Just like I couldn't bear to watch the monitor. So I was shaking and close my eye, keep praying, God, please, keep him safe and help him, kind of thing.
I felt very confident with the team we had, and I felt confident that I could do it.
Tom had no fear. He had no fear. He seemed to be so much enjoyed doing it.
That was the most fun that I've had, probably on the entire picture, and I had a lot of fun making this movie.
In the original script, I don't remember which draft, they were only, talk in the room. There was a scene that Tom tried to convince her to work together, and I just feel it's equally boring, So I suggest using a car chase instead of talking in the room, that kind of thing. I think the car chase will show a lot more of energy and more life and more romantic.
The storyboards for the car chase, they start on Tom basically chasing Naya. And once again, John didn't want a regular car chase. To him, this was basically a courtship. That was the idea of the car chase. And he wanted it to be intense, high action, but at the same time, what it really was about was a courtship between Naya and Ethan. It's like a kid's game almost, and yet it gets out of control, is the idea.
Whoa! Watch the road, watch the road.
In their fun and games, Naya loses control of the car, and Ethan, Tom, is forced to save her. As Tom cuts her off, the car's going to a spin, which again, to John, it's like a dance move.
Their relationship getting closer and closer, and seems like they're making love, you know.
That's just part of John's vision of this courtship that makes it unique. The end spin part, we had to build a track in the road, because to get two cars to connect and spin like that all the way up to the edge of a cliff is not really possible with two real cars. So we had two cars that were mounted to a turntable and a track, a 200-yard track was buried underneath the road, and these cars would actually spin right up to the edge of the cliffs.
I mean, I remember thinking, what if here we are on this rig being thrown, hurtling to the edge of the cliff. Anything could go wrong, and you just had to put your trust in the team, and they were really fantastic.
She was hanging probably 100 feet off the ground.
It was a first time for her. He had never do such kind of a stunt before, and she got struggling and pretending, and Tom pulled it up very fast, you know.
It's a pretty hairy sequence, actually, as far as film. We're on the top of a cliff, and there's no guardrail.
The scene was pretty dangerous because the cliff was so high, and the road was so narrow. I guess it was a pretty scary moment. The original idea was Tom, he come from the top of the building, running on the roof. Running, and do the jump all in one shot, you know, running up to the edge and jump off to the building, and descending down to the middle of the building. And then I suggest, how about, you know, like put it in the inside. Let's say the building have a long shaft, and let Tom jumping into the hole and descending into the shaft. And get to the bottom, you know, and also looks pretty spectacular, you know, and pretty crazy stunt as well.
The entrance into Biostate starts out with Tom clicking into his carabiner and leaning out the helicopter. The idea is to get, for one, a dramatic entry into a building, and then in the next part of the storyboards, he leans out further on the rope, and then he makes the leap where he's got to dive head down into these louvers, which are just opening for the 10 seconds. So it's a very intense, critical moment where his timing has to be, and aim has to be precise. The helicopter portion is real helicopter out in the sky. That's just for the lean out portion. When we got to the actual jump, it's actually on a stage with a green screen. Well, we did it two places. There was a green screen background in which they put the background out, and then there was also a shaft which we built. Tom would do this decelerator down in through the shaft. The idea is he basically is free falling on a rope, so we needed accuracy to where he could go head down, full speed, stop on a mark every time consistently so the camera could catch it. So what we did was we turned it into what's called a decelerator. It's Tom was basically doing a free fall. You would never get an actor to do that kind of stunt, but Tom was very insistent that he do all of his own stunts. He's probably done more decelerators than 99% of the stuntmen out there.
It's too fast, too quick. The ride's over too fast.
It's a very risky and dangerous stunt.
The actual stunt is in the fate of the riggers and the stunt coordinator and the cables and the deceleration system. So the hardest part is really maintaining the body position over and over again for every take that he does, and not breaking character when you're stopping 6 inches above a camera.
He did it, I think, probably 30, 40 times, head first, stopping a foot above the ground.
And he jumped like Peter Pan.
He's falling at whatever free fall speed in that time is. I mean, it's 32 feet per second. You know, that's what he's falling. It's full speed. You know, everything's very precise, but still, it's still dangerous.